hunger for glory, feeds the desire, the courage to look for a challenge, to feed your ambitions. To reach for greatness. To become the champion of champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third CCT Podcast. My name is Hayes, and I'm joined by the beautiful Cole Exner, perhaps better known as Mate. We have a lot to get through today. Of course, there's been some drastic changes to how we're running things here at CCT. Previously, we were going to have 10 studio events, which we've now converted into 5 online events. So lots of information to get through today.
Yeah, we're going to update you all on how everything's looking, what those online events are going to look like. So we definitely have a big day ahead of us here, and I'm really looking forward to covering all the details with you, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these podcasts are really important, right? Because there's so many moving parts to the CCT circuit, so we can kind of culminate everything in one central location, break it all down, give a summary as to what's going on, and then you can, it's a bit more digestible at that point. So, on that note, let's have a look at the first region. I believe it's going to be North America coming up first, and we get to see the first tranche, which is the first combination, or the first 4 series there combining to form the regional rankings. Now, Exner, you're going to be a lot more familiar with this region than I will.
Yeah, I got the details for you here for sure. Obviously, I mean, the teams that maybe you are going to be more familiar with are going to be Pain and MIBR in the mix there, but Nouns have come through and have taken that first place prize in our first little group of events. So I'm looking forward to seeing them make it on through there. They're a good team. They're actually going to be participating in Dallas coming up there, so they've got a lot of events to look forward to. They've been playing very strong, so alongside that, Pain, of course, they're a major participant. MIBR, they're looking to build up some good rosters. They've got a really impressive young gun in Insani, so a lot of names on this, but a lot of teams were fighting for that top spot, but I'm glad it's these 3 teams. I feel like these guys are definitely the rosters that can do the most damage.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many talented South American teams that they're spilling into the North American region here as well. And yeah, just for anyone who's not familiar, it's the top 3 teams from each of the regional rankings that progress through to the online finals. If they are from North America or South America, they'll be flown across to Europe to join the online finals event, obviously to negate the ping problems at that in that situation. So yeah, we have it here from the first North American tranche. It is Nouns, Pain, and MIBR who are going through. So like you say, certainly the 3 strongest teams that took part in the competition.
Yeah, I mean, no question. And all these teams could really benefit from more time over playing in Europe, right? So the opportunities here for these guys are going to be, absolutely massive, especially for MIBR, who do have a couple of lesser experienced players. I think Pain is building in a very impressive team. They almost made it to the legend stage of the majors, so those guys are always impressed. And then Nouns are in the same camp, right? They're going to get some chances at Dallas to get that international competition, but as for MIBR as for Nouns and MIBR, they're both needing more experience here as much as possible to level up their game for sure.
Yeah, I'm also very excited to see Nouns getting their shot to compete with some European opposition as well. I mean, they worked super hard to top the charts. Wasn't easy for them. And it's a lot of players who have had to grind their way through North American Counter-Strike, right, to get their opportunities. And now they're reaping the rewards of all that hard work, which is exactly what we want to see and what the CCT is designed for. So let's now have a look at the next tranche. I think we're going to be going to West Europe here, if I'm not mistaken. No, Central Europe. Okay. So I think this one is still in progress, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, no, we've done the first 4, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Copenhagen Flames, which obviously, if you've been keeping up with the recent news, have actually filed for bankruptcy. So unfortunately, they will no longer be the org. I'm sure the players will keep the spot, though. There actually hasn't been any formal word as to whether they're going to stay together or what's going to happen with their future.
I think Borup had sent a tweet out recently. I'm going to go and double check that real quick. But I saw a tweet from him saying that they were looking for an organization. So that's really good news if that's the case, right? Obviously, I think that they're They're unfortunately kind of struggling, I would say, from the loss of Regale, who's now actually just going to fill in for OG, which is kind
I
of
saw
cool.
that, yeah.
Good for him. I've been wanting him to play some Counter-Strike for quite some time now. So now that Copenhagen Flames out of the picture, he's able to spread his wings. But this one actually I think has already been decided, right? Because we had that
Yeah, you're
Central
right.
Europe Malta finals where we actually got to see Copenhagen Flames weren't there, but there was Forza, Honorous, and no, the Flames were there, I believe.
No, they
Honorous
they
actually took
qualified, but
MIBRs.
they decided not to compete. Like they
Okay,
turned it
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. Forza was there, I know, and then Honorous took one of their spots. So,
Yeah, they
MIBR
replaced Copenhagen
no wasn't there
Flames.
as well. So, but obviously that was the one that Eternal Fire ended up doing really well at, and
Yeah,
beat Bad News Eagles in the finals.
mate, MIBR, they're farming the CCT tournaments at the moment. Here in Central Europe, they've already
They
been
won
able
the
to get
first
themselves
event,
into the
and
top 3 as well.
yeah, it was unreal. They ended up winning. That was like their first look with their new roster as well. They came over to Europe and immediately got that success. I was looking really, I was like kind of really rating them at that point, right? But I think it was a little bit of the honeymoon phase initially, because if you're able to come through over into Central Europe as kind of, I consider them a honorary NA team just because they've been playing in like NAECL and all that. But yeah, I expected them to kind of come through and now dominate the North American scene. That hasn't fully been the case because they didn't qualify for like the majors through the Americas RMRs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I have high expectations, and again, I think every change that they've been making here, picking up Insani from their academy team, they've just been making so many moves that I really can't doubt them for too long.
Yeah, and it's going to be exciting to see them consistently competing against higher level opposition. That's only going to grow their experience. Like you say, and Sani has kind of been earmarked as one of the players from the Brazilian region as one of the next stars. So always exciting to see him competing. The one team in the bracket outside of the top 3 that I'm kind of surprised weren't able to make it was actually OneWin. I mean, you think about the events, they normally are, top of the crop when it comes to tier 2, but they haven't really been able to place high enough consistently to accumulate the points necessary. I know they didn't play in too many of the Central Europe series, but I still would have thought like the ones that they had played in would have been enough for them to rack up the points to get themselves in the top 3.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised to see them struggle. But like you said, man, it's all about like consistency. I would say more so. That was the story of Honorous for that matter, right? They,
Yes.
I mean, obviously didn't quite make it through, but good for them. The MIBR wasn't able to make it. Flames weren't able to make it, but those guys just kept on showing up throughout every I even have seen them in open qualifiers as well. So that consistency that they had showed up and the consistency in which they were able to make playoffs allowed them to get that spot. And again, another organization that has struggled to keep up, but you've got some really good pieces on that team. I think Ryko is something you can look forward to here, especially if Nine ever need a change or something like that. If they're looking to make a good roster move or something. I don't think Nine need it right now. They've obviously got some high highs, but if in the future there's something that you need to replace a piece, you can look towards this team. Ryko is definitely going to be the next step, I think, out of the Polish scene.
Yeah, I think that Honorous actually have kind of transcended to the next level. Taz has obviously retired completely from Counter-Strike, and they brought Masked into his place. Now, Masked was playing with the it was I've got their name right here on the tip of my tongue.
Trying to help you.
No, it was also that Polish team. It was after the Boars. I cast these guys all the time. I cast them the other day. Man, I can't believe that it's not actually coming to me right now. This is a disaster. Disaster of the highest order. Illuminar, that's the one X now, thank you. He was actually hoping for that team before, and now he's slotted into the rifle role. You've got the core of Masked, Samey, Sobel, and Ryko, which is actually a really strong core. So I'm looking forward to seeing Honorous continue to progress through, but still, like we said, Copenhagen Flames, Fours, MIBR, those are the 3 teams that have topped the charts here in the first Central Europe tranche, and we're going to see if they will get themselves through to the next stage of the competition. Now, let's have a look at the next regional ranking. Okay, so it is going to be South America. Now, There's a lot of South America series going on. I believe we've completed our 7th. We're going into the 8th soon enough. Now, obviously, the couple teams that have progressed through to our first online finals were supposed to be Fluxo, Sharks, and Metagaming BR. Fluxo have declined the invitation. They've declined their spot, which means by default, Corinthians have been slotted in. And so, yeah, that means that we have the 3 teams coming through that will be flying from South America to Europe to compete in our first online finals.
Yeah. So Fluxo, I heard Zeus talk a little bit about it, the coach of Fluxo, and he was talking about how they're really focused on training for some future events. They really don't have a lot that they're going to be really doing in CS:GO for that matter, right? I think they're kind of focusing on training for the update and stuff like that. So interesting to see them decline that, right? Because there's not a lot of events that are coming up for this team. So I'm just kind of wondering what they're going to be doing for the rest of like Global Offensive until CS2 comes out. But obviously, yeah, that gives Corinthians a big opportunity, right? These guys are always in these qualifiers. They're always putting in like a lot of work to try and get into these positions. And right here, you can see how close they were to making it on in to the the top 3, right? Just a couple points off. So luckily for them, they get rewarded for their hard work as well. Sharks, again, are a team that I think are very good as well. I think they've established like so much talent in the Brazilian scene. So many move-ups have come through from Sharks. So there's a couple of very strong teams. And Maj3r, I've casted them a lot. Again, it's another one of those cases of just always showing up for every last official that they can find. And we're able to use some of that experience that they have to their advantage.
Yeah, I think actually one of my favorite parts of that roster is the IGL Cuts Moretz. He seems to have a really great grip on the game.
Yeah.
Fragging IGL, always willing to do whatever the team needs for them to be successful as well. Initially, he took a step back from the roster, but then it seems as though he's actually going to continue with the team. I think the strongest player on that roster is undoubtedly Suplex on the AWP. I mean, man, he tears up the server when he's on a good day. Definitely their star, and certainly a player I'm looking forward to seeing competing in Europe as well. So it's going to be a really exciting opportunity for them. Normally, we see them quite isolated in the South American region, so to get to see them against some European competition now is going to be a great opportunity for them.
No question. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Cuts is a honorary North American advanced player, by the way.
Okay.
When I first started casting, he was playing in NA advanced. He's definitely a cool dude, though.
All right. I guess the one name is Paqueta that you would look at there. Isarus are now playing under, is it Bestia, I think, now as well. Obviously, this was the first tranche, which completed maybe 2 months ago or something like that. We've had 3 events since then. So Paqueta are competing more regularly now, and we'll get to see where they're standing in a few graphics from now. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they are looking like one of the best teams in sort of the tier 2 level in Brazil right now. So, yeah, we'll see exactly where they're at. But these are the 3 teams that are going to be progressing through from the South American region to join up with the first online finals, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which is Sharks, Metagaming BR, and Corinthians. So exciting times. Let's switch across to our next region here. What have you got for us, Mr. Producer? It is going to be West Europe, which is still in progress, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And right now, obviously, man, 2 of the teams that are now in the major playoffs are Monty and Apex, which is very exciting for those guys, man. And obviously, like Spirit Academy, the prowess that these guys have shown, especially when Spirit is kind of in, I would say, a little bit of turmoil, not qualifying for the major even. You can look towards this team now to bring in some new names, some new players, and really establish themselves. So these 3 teams, man, some of the hardest workers right now in Tier 2. I mean, Monty, you can't even question how hard they've been working throughout the Tier 2 region. So well-deserved, and obviously they're reaping the rewards of that hard work.
Yeah, ridiculously stacked region here, West Europe. Like you say, Monty and Apex, undoubtedly some of the best teams. Like you said earlier, though, the CCT circuit and regional rankings heavily favor teams who consistently show up. You really get rewarded for competing as much as you can. That's why you look at the rankings, you see Gamer Legion at number 10, you think, damn, have they had a couple rough series? It's like, well, they haven't necessarily competed in too many, right? So when they do take part in 1 or 2, they have a good run, it gets them points, but they haven't played in enough for them to consistently accumulate the points to get into the top of the table. Coalesce, I think, is another team who are actually starting to get themselves in that conversation. We've seen Alefo, previously Heat, have a good run as well. I think that they actually won one of the West Europe series, if I'm not mistaken, or they at least made it to the final. or it might have been another one, but they've been consistently placing pretty high in the CCT events as well. So they're going to be looking to try and get themselves in the conversation. But the top three have got such a massive lead here, Exner.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to catch up here as things are kind of closing out there, especially if, Maj3r or Apex, and I know Spirit Academy will probably be attending, one of the final, West Europe, number 4. So if we see that should very much so lock them in for this top 3 position. But the gap is definitely going to be hard to close for a lot of these teams, especially when you kind of look at who's chasing. iNation maybe not in the biggest form to like make a deep run and actually claim a victory, right? We can see them maybe make it into a semifinal or like a quarterfinal, but are they going to win one of these West Europe events? It's a little bit less likely. So I do feel like these are very much so the top 3 teams that we are going to see out of West Europe.
Yeah, I think that's the weird one for me because iNation were in phenomenal form and then they just really started to drop off before the RMR, and since then they haven't really been able to get themselves back to winning ways. I think they brought 8 kits into the mix. They replaced not Depression, or actually it was Depression, their author before. Either way, some changes going on there.
So.
Let's have a look at the next region because we've got a lot of information to sift through here to break it all down. Here we go. Here's the second Central Europe Challenge. Now, I was just a little bit confused with the first one because we already had the finals, so I think that's why my brain didn't necessarily understand why we were going through it again. But here is the second challenge of the Central Europe series, which is still going on. Monty, they could pretty much not compete in another one of these Central Europe series, and they're probably locked in a spot. They're winning these events left, right, and center, if not placing super high. This was the one that Heat actually beat them on in a final recently as well, so they're up to 165 points. And then Big Academy have also had some great placements lately.
Yeah, Big Academy has really impressed me, especially again when you're looking at a team full of motivated players, because Big looks at, or I imagine the Big Academy roster looks at, the move ups that have been made in the academy program, and they're thinking I can do that too. Every one of these players on Big Academy is thinking I can make that move up too. I'm just waiting for my time to shine, and that's absolutely massive for academy players and their motivation, right? Same thing for Spirit Academy, and Astral's talent for that matter, right? All of these academy rosters are seeing opportunities. Altex has just made the move up to the main team of Astralis. That's absolutely massive for these teams and their confidence here, because that's going to encourage even harder work done from hardworking players in the tier 2 realm, and I think that's showing real value right here in Central Europe right now. Obviously, I don't think there's a team that works harder than Monty, though. That's why they're on top again.
Yeah, these guys are grinding at the moment. I think it was something like 165 maps played in 3 months or something. Yeah. Even in the middle of the goddamn major, mate, they still actually played like one of their ESL matches, just like their day off against Eyeballers, rolled them, and then carried on to qualify for the playoffs of the major. I mean, these guys are just built different, man. The embodiments of tier 2 grinders. Just to extend the point you were making about Spirit Academy earlier and the main team as well, there have been some rumblings about potential promotions from that academy team as well. I mean, obviously Donk and Artfrost have just been completely nuts lately, tearing up the server. Their Star Rifler, their Orpa as well. So they're definitely going to be in pursuit of the top 3 placing as well.
Yeah, no question, right? That's a huge encouragement right there for those 2 players that you mentioned there, Donk and Artfrost. I think that there's high potential that we could see them move up if it's necessary for Spirit, right? Obviously, you can have bad RMRs, you can have bad events, and, you can shake those off and keep your same roster. We've seen G2 do it and stuff like that. So, it's going to be, very much, exciting to see those potential move-ups, because Spirit, I think, maybe do need some fresh blood with how they were looking at that last RMR, but we'll just have to wait and see, right? And again, Astral's talent, I really like these guys as well. I think it's going to be difficult maybe to work without Altex, one of their shining stars, especially in some of the deep runs that they've made. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later, but those guys are going to, definitely continue to look to put some work in as that whole main roster shakes up.
Let's switch across. What do you have next for us, Mr. Producer? It is going to be the second South American challenge. Now, here you can see Paqueta. Like I was saying, they have had great results recently. They're actually tied with Arctic at 175 points. 9Z, the top of the pops. They actually had a bit of a shaky Series 7 where they lost out, I think, in the semi-final to Sharks, where they got beaten quite heavily. Sharks also breathing down the necks of these top 3, as are Bestia. So there's actually nothing hard set here in the South America series, and there's only 1 series left to complete this challenge.
Yeah, no question. This is much more up in the air than Fluxo's, 4-peat when they were winning every CCT. Now they're actually standing at number 10 right now, and obviously haven't been able to compete in all of the events, I don't believe, but they've been struggling a lot more, and I think that's credit to the level up of that tier 2 competition that we've seen. There's been so many roster moves made throughout these last couple of months in the tier 2 scene to really allow for rosters to level up. I think Baketa is included in that mix. We saw them struggling to break, I believe, top 5 in the first Treyanch, and now they're top 3 right now, which is absolutely incredible for them, and they've made some really good roster moves. Arctic's recovery as well is very exciting, I gotta say, as they've been plucked to pieces as well, and have come back the other end looking a little bit more strong and with that more depth, which is really good for them.
Yeah, they had a phenomenal run in the South America Series 6 where they actually won the entire event, and that's what accumulated majority of their points because they didn't even compete in Series 7, mate. So that one win for them has gone a long way. Like you said, they actually have had some roster moves forced upon them, so hopefully they will be able to get back on track. And then Bestia won Series 7, so they also picked up a huge amount of points off the back of that. So Series 8 is going to have a huge amount of weight in terms of which way the table's going to go from here. But let us move on in the conversation. Do we have another region coming up next? There is North Europe. Okay, so North Europe, there's Astralis Talent, top of the pops, man, even leading their main team.
This is what I was going to talk about when we were saying, we're gonna discuss this a little bit later. But Astralis Talent have had some absolutely incredible runs. This is the reason we got to see Altex get that move up. I feel like was them getting the victory right here in one of these series. Man, the run that they made, incredibly challenging, wasn't an easy path, and they were able to beat everyone in front of them. Which I gotta say, man, it's got to be incredibly difficult for such a young group of players to come out on top consistently throughout so many strong teams, man. A lot to look forward to with these guys, given the fact that, all of these players have just watched Altex make the move up off of a good performance, and Astralis are giving their players opportunities, and I think that's key here to motivate these, academy rosters.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. Going to keep them working super hard and keep them hungry. ENCE won the second North Europe series. I don't think they've actually competed in any other, but that's the value in taking part in one or two of these events, placing super high, get yourself into the top 3, and then you don't have to compete in as many thereafter. But they've got themselves in the top 3. They're and actually, I believe this one is completed, by the way, because we've had our first 4 North Europe series. So that is hard set. Astralis Talents, Astralis, and ENCE. Now, whether we're going to have both Astralis Talents and Astralis at the same event is probably not going to happen just because of moral and ethical rules and how it works in the scene.
Already in the online
Havu's
final,
locked in?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. So we do have the information that Havu will be competing.
And it is Astralis Talent that are going to be playing as well.
That makes a lot more sense to me, right? Yeah. Because you want to give the Astralis Talent team more experience. They also grinded more of these events out, so it feels like they are more deserving of the spot than the main Astralis roster. So I'm happy to see that. I'm excited to see that. I know that ENCE have also locked their spot in, and they will be competing in the online finals, so they will be featuring in that main event. So there we go. That is the teams locked in: Astralis Talent, ENCE, and Havu. Now, any words on Havu, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about Havu other than the fact that they have been able to, stabilize a little bit, but they do need what I feel like is more time. They've been making some good moves here. They've got some good initial pieces. I really like the roster that they were working with, at the end of last year, but obviously not able to hold on to that. So with that being said, right, looking to stabilize here, and I think this event is a perfect opportunity to do so. It just feels like they've been making a little too many roster changes for my liking.
They finally kind of settled with Airax coming in as the IGL. Banjo is like the one recognized up-and-coming star, previously a part of the Fnatic Academy team. Mm-hmm. Of course, X7 and Aerial, your staple players as well. So it'll be cool to see them competing in the online finals as they just get their noses in there, as Astralis won't take part. So there we go. I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, is there South Europe? We might have actually a South Europe one here coming up next as well. There we go. I do have some sort of an idea of what's going on. Aurora leading the charge here in South Europe. Now, I was waiting to see when we'd see their name at the top of one of these rankings, because when they do take part in the CCT events, they normally tear it up.
Yeah, that's the thing here. Aurora have kind of established themselves at the beginning of the year, right? Around January, February, March as like the kings of T2, were constantly doing damage here. I think Monty have kind of taken their throne since then, and it's been an uphill battle for them to try and reclaim their spot. I think trying to lock in a position at a major, like a big land for them, has been very important. But they haven't been able to really do that just yet, right? And obviously they've got so many pieces that I have full faith that they will recover, but they have kind of I wouldn't say fallen off. They just haven't been as strong as they were when we were seeing them at the start of the year. It was definitely one of those honeymoon periods where Kinsey and Nori, those two players individually were playing like passed out of their minds. I believe at one point Nori had like a 1.4 rating in 30 games or so. So it's hard to keep that up, right? But still, they've locked themselves in a very good position in South Europe. I feel like this sort of lead right now that they have, even if they didn't show up to the fourth, they would probably be able to lock in a victory overall.
Yeah, there's no way that they don't go through from here. They actually aren't a part of the fourth series, but that's not going to be a problem. The fourth series, as of date of recording, is yet to be completed. We have to finish off the playoff stage of that fourth series, but Bad News Eagles, they should feature as well. I mean, they placed second in 2 events, both times losing out to Aurora, and then Copenhagen Flames probably have their position locked in as well, ex-Copenhagen Flames, should I say. So they've got 2 CCT events now that they've been able to get themselves through. Obviously, the first Central Europe series, which they declined to take part in, but now they have another opportunity here in South Europe. I mean, Alternate Atex, who are taking part in the fourth series, they're going to have to play super high, mate. They're going to have to make it through to the finals, if not win the entire event to get themselves in the top 3.
Yeah, that's always the problem, right? I mean, it's very difficult here when you don't have those consistent high placing rankings, right? To continue to get those points, and it's like, again, I like the team that Alternate Attacks are bringing to the table, but if they're showing up and making like a semifinal run, that might not be enough to catch up to BNE.
Yeah. All right, so that is the wrap-up of all the respective rankings or regions going on at the moment, the ones that have completed their tranches, the ones that are still in limbo, and what we can sort of expect in the weeks to come. But I believe that's everything, right, producer? Bring up our cameras if I'm correct. There we go. Let's make it happen. Lovely.
Bam.
Okay, we're on the ball today. So one more topic left to be covered here, Exner, and it is the CCT online finals. Of course, it's going to be the first online finals taking place. Like I said, previously there's supposed to be 10 studio events, which we then converted into 5 online events. Because the calendar is so busy with international Counter-Strike, we wanted to find a way to get the best teams consistently competing in the events, and making them online was a lot easier than having all the teams needing to travel to a central location to compete. So we tinkered with the setup. It means that instead of having 10 series or 10 events with a $100,000 prize pool, we have 5 with a $200,000 prize pool. I mean, absolutely massive prize pool for these online events. And of course, we still have the global LAN finals taking place next year as well.
Yeah. I mean, huge prize pools, that's for sure. And so that's going to encourage a lot of these teams to really put in some extra work. And like you said there, it will probably encourage some teams like in the tier 1 realm to participate, right? I think that's going to be the key, because we've seen already Cloud9 playing a couple of these online events, kind of like how their strength was in 2021 when they were kind of rising as Gambit.
Yes.
Very good in the online format, and you can see it whenever they just win these massive prize pool online events. Maybe we'll see them once again in a CCT online final as well.
Yeah, good potential. I mean, these CCT online finals feature 16 teams, double elimination brackets, so you do have a life in the competition. We have 6 teams that directly qualify from the respective online rankings and regions, should I say, and then 10 teams that are directly invited into the competition as well, forming that 16-team bracket. So we do have our first one coming up on the 23rd of May. So it's actually just around the corner here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and absolutely love the format of this, right? Just a lot of teams, you got double elimination. It's everything you could ask for here. So not completely out of the picture. You have some potential for like some really cool runs to be made as well from that lower bracket. So honestly, I feel like everything you could ask for here. You've got participants coming through from the South American region, which is very exciting. Good opportunities for a lot of these teams to get some reps in Europe, in officials as well, in high stakes environments as well. And then, of course, you've got a lot of invited teams that are looking very strong. So I don't know what more you could really ask for at this point, right? A whole lot of opportunity to get some really good games underneath your belt.
Yeah, as of recording, there's still a few teams yet to be announced that will be taking part in the competition as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the biggest name that is still formed a part of the competition or that will feature is NIP. I mean, they bombed out against Apex yesterday, losing a massive lead on Ancients, and that means they wouldn't feature in the playoffs. But NIP featuring here, good opportunity for them to actually, brush themselves up a little bit, get things working once again. Big Nine, also two huge teams who are very respected at the highest levels of the game. So there are some massive names. So then the likes of the teams who have come through the respective regions like Aurora, Astralis Talent, Sharks, Metagaming BR, now getting to test themselves against the likes of NIP, Nine, Big. That's going to be an amazing opportunity for them.
Yeah, very exciting stuff for sure. And again, a lot of chances to get some really good reps, but I'm excited for the team list, right? Like you mentioned here, a lot of very competitive rosters coming through, getting those invites, NIP, great opportunities, and you can see, I imagine that the rest of these teams, a lot of them are still waiting to confirm some invites, right? We haven't gotten the rest of those announced just yet, but once we figure that out, I feel like there are going to be a couple of strong tier 1 teams that are looking to get some reps in. If we have a little bit of a off time in between, big events like the Maj3r right now in Dallas coming up, then this is the perfect little in between that you can gather to get some more practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I also love the fact that we combine different regions, so we get to see like some of the South American teams and the North American teams competing against Europe, where previously we would have had the studio events which would have isolated the regions. So now we get to just throw them all into one mixed bag together and see who comes out on top. So I think that's also a super exciting aspect of the online series, how it's kind of changed up that dynamic a little bit. And of course, all these teams are competing for their spots in the global finals next year, which is going to be the massive culmination of this entire circuit. So there's a huge amount on the line. Not only is there that mammoth $200,000 prize pool, but also a spot at the global LAN finals. So yeah, there's a lot to get excited about at the moment here with the CCT circuit.
Yeah, no question. That's a big key right now. Everyone trying to qualify for that global LAN finals. It's going to be very competitive. I feel like that's another one of those events that we're going to be seeing a lot of the top teams at. Especially when the timing of it is kind of at the beginning of 2024, so you're kind of looking at that as like the perfect opportunity to kick off your year with some really good reps. So if that's the case, right, if we do see those teams here, it's going to be another one of those like huge potential LAN events that a lot of these like tier 2 teams are going to be very, very hungry, very, very eager to get a chance at. And right now, in this online format, you're looking at teams like Forza, you're looking at teams like Aurora to really do some damage here in an event like this and lock in that position.
That's exactly it, man. And we're going to, the fireworks are just around the corner. 23rd of May is the start date of the first online finals. And from there, it will be progressing through to the 30th of May, where we'll have the final day of the event. The next 3 online finals will be taking place in the 3rd quarter of the year. And then the last online final will happen in the 4th quarter of the year. We don't have the exact dates, but you can head over to CCT Tour or cctour.gg to keep up to date with all the information, the dates, the rankings, the teams that will be competing, the formats, and any other questions you might have. Your questions will be answered over there. And that all leads into the massive culmination in 2024. We will have the global finals. There will also still be all the regional events going on over the next couple months. Myself and Exner and all our wonderful co-casters and content creators are going to be very busy. You'll hear and see a lot of us, but we hope that this podcast has served well just to give you guys an update as to what's been happening, what's going to happen, the changes that we've had in CCT as well, and exactly what you guys can look forward to. But for now, we're going to bid you farewell.
Hey guys, and welcome back to CCT Podcast. My name is Freddie or Grimmy Ranner. You normally know me from casting some of your favorite games from the CCT Tour and also from the CCT Central Europe Malta Finals. And so on that topic, we actually have our first LAN Finals winner. I would love to introduce the Turkish captain that led his team to victory, Maj3r from Eternal Fire.
Hello guys, nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
How are you doing today, man? You doing all well?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Everything fine. And you?
Nice, yeah. Oh, not too bad. It's actually really sunny. I don't know about you, but
Where?
I live in Dublin, and it's like raining last night. Like the whole of last night was so like awful weather, and then today it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm in France. It's raining right now. It's raining.
Oh,
Like, nothing different.
yeah, not enjoyable. So firstly, I want to take a look at like the CCT LAN in general. I know it was quite a while ago, so I hope we can like try and like bring
Remember?
up some of the memories. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
So expectations going into that tournament. I think it'd be fair to say you guys weren't the favorites going into it. So what were your expectations?
Our expectation on the CCT tournament was, to be honest, winning it because it's for a
Mm,
professional player, it's always winning it. But it was more like in the same time there was the major RMR, so it was maybe a training for us as the CCT. But in the end, we won it, and we was really happy because there is some good teams also in the tournament. Like there is Ants, Force, Spirit, BNA, Movie Stars. So there was some pretty good
mm,
teams. Sporat, Onovis, like
yeah.
I give the 8 teams, but there is some good teams, and
Yeah.
we're happy to win it. Like it was a good win.
Yeah. Did you So you had a very intense schedule during this period. Like we were just talking about it there. You had the RMR qualifiers where you went through all the open qualifiers,
Yeah.
and then you had like the LAN itself. How were you able to manage and balance all these games and like refresh every single time, every day?
Like I think thanks to the organization of CCT first of all, because when they invite us to CCT, we tell them that we had the major in the same times. Are you guys will be able to make some schedule for us if we come to the CCT and play CCT for you guys? But it's also important for us to play the open qualifier of the major. So they say,
Yeah.
yeah, we will do our best to make the schedule as flexible for you guys. But in the end, like it was really difficult because first we play in the CCT was playing in the hotel. I don't remember the name of the hotel in Malta, but all the tournament was in the hotel. Okay, like the room was in the hotel, and when you go to the tournament, it was on the floor, um, um, on the zero floor. Uh,
Yeah.
but when we played, they told us to play in the room in the hotel for the major, but the internet was so bad, like we had loss, etc. So we decide to go another place. So in the last minute, we decided to go to the another place. I think it was 40 minutes on car. So we was going to the major, playing 7, 8 BO1. Then we going back to play a BO3. Then we sleep. Then we going back to the morning to play the RMR with someone else 1 hour road. Then we coming back to play one match. Then we wait until the night to play the loser match of CCT. Etc. 10 days of very difficult schedule. So it was to be honest, difficult. But like I said in another interview, like I think what we do is really precious as a esport player because
Mm,
we have we win money doing something we love, something we appreciate, and it's something very precious for me. So when something happen like this, it's not happening every time, but when something's
yeah.
happen like this, some difficult schedule, I think you need to give your best and just appreciate this moment now. Yeah, it was difficult, but we had to do this. We did it, and positively we go to the major and we won the CCT. So and there is just right after the ESL Pro League, like one day after CCT and every major, we played one
Yeah,
day
you stayed
after.
in Malta,
We
right?
stay in Malta and we play also 7 days of
Whoa.
ESL Pro League, and we lose. And we finish four. Like if we finish three on the ESL Pro League, we was going on the playoff, but we lose Fnatic in the last match in the last day, 7 days of counter.
Oh,
I forget this. That's why I told you like we play 16 maybe BO3 on 2 weeks, and I was wondering, but CCT and only major was not maybe 14 or 16 BO3, but with the ESL
yeah.
Pro League it was a lot of match, a lot of match.
Wow, that is a lot of count. Like we were kind of talking about this a little bit. Like that seems so. So you were saying just there, like you kind of feel like you should be like you are lucky that you are in a position where you can play Counter Strike professionally.
Yes.
However, the schedule right now in this year has been really packed. I think a lot of teams have been complaining about it.
Yes.
Is this a problem that you think should be addressed though? Because like that's not healthy to play that many games and you're not playing on your A game either. Like your quality of Counter-Strike is definitely going to be a little bit worse if you're playing that much in a row. Do you think it's a problem that this schedule in Counter-Strike is so busy right now?
Obviously is a problem, but like I said, when it's happening just rarely, just one times, we are not like Vitality or some other teams who's doing every time tournament, every month they're going to S tournament every time. We're not participating in every tournament of ESL or something else. So in for this side, I will not say anything, but for them, I can understand, I can empathize that they're going through tournament every 2 weeks, doing plane, airport, traveling. So it's difficult. But for us, it's happened one times, like the 3 tournament in a row. Like I told you, the CCT and the Maj3r in the
Yeah.
same time, then ESL Pro League. Yeah, it was difficult. And I'm thinking if we have the same schedule every time in a year, like a player can burn out easily. Like it's not healthy, like you said. So I think the most important things for our scene is to protect players. Of course, they can have hard schedule like a footballer. Like a footballer have 3 days. He have a match in the end of the week, and he play Champions League on Thursday, etc. So I think it's about our job, but it's also important to protect player, like you said. Health is more important.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like it's actually kind of crazy. Like I remember we were commending you every single time that you came on stream. We were like, they've played 2 best-of-3s since we last saw them.
Yeah.
But like so because you played so much there, did that affect you long term? That you had like the major afters as well, and unfortunately you failed to make it to the major. Did the amount of games you played in such a short amount of time potentially like burn you out a little bit?
I'm not sure quite, but I feel really tired after the CCT, Erimar Open Qualifier, Closed Qualifier, and ESL Pro League. After that, I think we had 1 month
Yeah,
until the major start, and in the 1 month, we had also we had to work for the major, so we had a lot
yeah,
complicated schedule as a team on practice. We go to the boot camp, so I think after this period, like I was feeling I need to rest, but the schedule was not allowing me to rest. Like it was
yeah,
more trying, more working, and in the end, I don't know what's if we feel tired or not, what's happened, but in the end, we lost the qualification on major. Maybe that play, maybe that didn't play. I don't know, to be honest with you. But in this time, I was really tired, like physically and mentally, more
mm,
mentally than physically, because it's difficult when you lead because I also analyze the other teams. I have to analyze. I have to watch demos. When there is a lot of match, it's a lot of works. Yeah, it's not easy, but like I
yeah.
told you, we have to do it.
Yeah, like I can imagine, especially as being like the IGL as well, you have like that just kind of little bit extra to do that some of the other players wouldn't have. But so looking at the tournament, the CCT tournament, how did it feel actually to beat BNE, not just once in the group stage, but then twice in the finals? Because it seemed like you struggled against them quite a lot online. And that was definitely one of the teams that I came into this tournament that I thought that you as a squad would struggle against.
Yeah, we feel really great because we always lose
Yeah,
16-40 against them. Always, like
always, man.
always 16-40. We play when I was not in Internal Fire, they played the first time in BNA, the first major. I don't remember. I think it was in Belgium. They lose 16-40 the first round. Then the second major, when I joined 6 months ago, we play again against them, and I was there. We lost again 16-14. Then we play on internet, we lost 16-14. Then after that, we play on CCT, the first tournament, we win 16-14, then we lose 16-14, then we lose on Inferno 16-12, something like that. And then the last match of the
Yeah,
grand final, I don't remember the score, but I can tell you it's we
it
win.
was close, man. It
Yeah,
was
it was
close.
close, but not 16-14 at this time, but it was close.
Uh, there's so much CS. So like you finally broke through the curse. How did it feel actually to win a LAN? Because if I'm not mistaken, that's like the first proper LAN in CS you've won since 2020. Like, did it feel really good to win a LAN and also just do it against a team like BNE? Did that actually make it feel just that little much better because you felt like you deserved it?
Yeah, it feel great. Like in my whole career, yeah, like I was winning a lot of tournament when we was with Space Soldiers. So it was on
Yeah.
2006. I don't remember the date, but in this time, we like winning tournament was good because we was winning a lot of tournaments, a lot of T2 tournament. But now, since 2 years, 3 years, yeah, it's maybe the first tournament that we win. Like we can say T2, tier two. It feels great. There is BNA. There is also other good teams in my point of view. There is Force, there is Spirit, Sprout. Like there is a good teams also in this tournament. So winning it is really something good for us, for our motivation in the next further. If we can play other tournament, we know that we have this kind of level that we win this kind of tournament, this T2 tournament. So yeah, it feels great. It feels great.
I think I was gonna ask a question about roster changes, but and like talking about like it's good that is it better than stable you have a stable roster now, but have you made a roster change? Like have you replaced xFloud? Is that like a question that I'm allowed to ask?
Yeah, we replace. We're playing with Wikidia right now.
Okay.
Playing with Wikidia. Um, yeah, there is a main issue in Internal Fire team in Turkey. Like we switching a lot of players, but I think um, switching early players is sometimes important. Like I need to be sure of my system. Okay, like in Turkey there is not a lot of player. The problem is that I can't find a lot of player, and in my system I need to fix role. And when I came here, like with xCloud, we did our best, but like in-game leader I was the entry figure also as an in-game leader. And I always in Space Soldier, I
Okay.
was more supporting. Okay, I was more beyond supporting, throwing flash, doing tactics, like more beyond and giving tempo. As a leader, I'm more successful in this role. But in this internal fire, when with xCloud, I was the entry in every tactic. I was the first one going. Like I was the meal, like if you can understand. I was in front, like a Jax in Vitality, every time in front
Yeah.
of things. And it's not something I'm good on it. Like I'm going, killing one, dying, but I never kill two. Like I never do a double kill, something. Like I'm not good on it. I do my best, but we need a firepower in terms of entry, and then we find it on Wikidia. That's why we switch Wikidia with xCloud. We have nothing with xCloud. He's, I think, a good player, supporting player, but he has not this ability to go first and opening site. That's what we need in our roster, and
Okay.
we find in our Wikidia this kind of skill. That's why we try to use Wikidia now instead of xCloud.
Okay. That's actually very. I guess that does make sense because the question that I was like planning to ask was struggling with like stable rosters. So is it more important to you to find just a system that works no matter what cost than have like a consistent five for a long time that maybe doesn't work in your system? You get what I mean?
I think as a leader, what is important is that they gave me 4 players. I have 4 players. Okay, it's like poker when you
Yeah.
play poker. My 4 players is my hand. Okay, I need to do the best of it with my hand. I can bluff. I can. It can be a good hand or it can be a bad hand, but I need to bluff it. Okay, when in my mind I have a systems working. What I did with Space Soldiers in few years ago, but in these teams it was a completely different system of Space Soldiers. So I did my best with the hand I have. So I have to bluff. I have to go in front. It's what is not my role, but I did my best, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. But now, like we lost Major and CS2 is coming, I really want to build the systems. That's what I want. So I try to
Mm.
find players. That's maybe we can switch player, etc. We can replace player. Like in my mind now, I have a system and I want to do it. So I don't have want to have regrets further in my life. Then I will say, fuck, I lost 1 year's playing something. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't believe, etc. So now I just want something I believe. That's why we switch Xcloud with Wikidia. I needed someone in the front of my system, and these guys can do it. I need to learn it. He's 17 years old. He's not a lot of experience, so he will need times to do it. But I think pretty. He has potential, so I believe him. So, like I told you, I think what is important is to use your players the maximum
Mm.
potential. Now it's still not yet. I think, to be honest with you, it's still not the system I want, but
Yeah.
I do my best still. Like I try
Okay.
to explain my vision to my teammate.
Okay, so do you think the problem that you just said, like it's not the system that you have right now, is that something that's fixable with the 4 players that you have in your hand?
We have some problem, of course, obviously, like other teams, but it's going better and better every day
Okay.
because we need times. With the schedule of CS, we have tournament every time. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's difficult for a player to like, how can I say in English, like to make him better, to working on being better in
Yeah.
his role. So it's every time matches and matches and match. Now we have some times, so I can make more theory. I can speak with him.
Mm.
I can say, like, here I want you to do that, here we need to do that, here, like. But when we have a lot of matches and a lot of schedule, I can't speak with my players. I just say, guys, we're gonna play like this, no, no, no. But it's more generally. But when we have free times and not a lot of tournament, I can speak individually, and there I can tell to my player what exactly I want
Yes.
from them. If
Yeah, I
I
think that segues me really nicely onto kind of like the CCT tour in general, because I think the CCT tour has definitely brought a lot of games. Like I think we all can agree on HLTV this year, there's just more games than ever, and I see some teams that benefits, some teams it's not a good thing. How do you think that it's how the more officials a team has to play on HLTV, how do you think this can be a benefit or a negative for how packed the schedule can be?
sometimes when you play official like CCT matches is something benefit for your
Yeah.
teams because you play official. Like sometimes when you play only 1 month of practice, everyday training, and no official, uh, player most of it, players are not doing 100% the same on practice and official, because on
Yeah.
official there is a stress factor. So the mistake you can see in official, you don't see it on practice. You understand? Like we play one
Yeah,
month
I
of
get what you
practice.
mean.
You know what I mean? When we play 1 month of practice, I don't see X mistakes, I would say. But when we play the official, I see the X mistakes, and I'm telling myself, okay, in official we have X mistakes, but in practice we don't have this X mistake. So we have to fix the X mistake for the next official. And I think the X mistakes is about stress, about
Mm.
the matches, official matches, etc. And this is important sometimes to play official to see where the team are, where we are as a team, if we play good CS on official, etc. And sometimes when you play a lot of official, it's not good because you have to work also in practice. Because on official, you don't trying things. You do everything you need to win the round. But in practice, like today, I will say to my team, guys, we play nuke. We only play outside. We're just gonna go smoking outside. We're gonna work out, execute outside, and we're just gonna do that on T side. Nothing
Yeah.
else. Like even if we lose 14-0, I don't care. The
It's
main goal is
practice.
just practice. And um, this make you better after in executing outside, etc. But in
Mm.
official, when you play official, you can do this. If we lose 14-0 and doing the same thing and same thing, people will just flame and tell you that this is not official. So as a player also, you don't want to do that. You want to win the
Yeah,
official.
exactly.
So more you play official, maybe it's good and bad, like you said. If I can,
Mm.
I told
Okay.
you what I think.
So do you think now bringing in a player like Wikidia, you were saying like he's 17 years old, he's honestly really inexperienced, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Do you think having more officials coming up, like after the major, there'll be a little bit more, and then there's the player break, obviously, but having this packed schedule, do you think that benefits him as a player?
I think we need to protect him. First of all, we need to have a good system and play and practice it like 2 weeks, 1 month, and then going to official.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
If we bring him instantly and play official, I think we don't protect him because
Okay,
he's
yeah.
not used to play in my system. He's not used to play with the new teammate. He will have some stress. He will not be useful to our games. So I think the best, yeah, if I was a coach, like if I was a decision making in team, if I was a coach, if we have a new lineup, I bring new players. Sometimes I can choose my tournament. Like
Mm,
I choose my tournament. I try also to protect my player. I think it's important to protect young players because when they lost confidence, it's complicated for them.
yeah.
So you need to take care of some little details that's maybe some important in my point of view. So
Mm.
for us, we're working with him, and then we will be ready to play a tournament soon, and we will see.
Nice. Okay, so looking at like the CCT Tour in general, I feel there's a lot of teams that have really excelled from the amount of games. Like you've got Monty, Spirit Academy, that have really kind of come through and
Yeah.
challenged some of the top teams in Europe. Are there any teams kind of like this year that have impressed you by making deep runs and maybe something that like surprised you?
The most surprising team for me, it's nine.
Really?
Yeah, it's nine.
Okay, can I actually ask? So, yeah, because I was thinking about this a lot recently. Like, I never like Sparrow was a good player in my opinion. The Orp like
Yeah.
that Hades replaced, like he was a good player, and I didn't see an issue with him. And then Hades came in, and now they're like a top 20 team, and I'm like, how is that? Like, is that vibes on the team? Like, what is that?
Yes. Like yeah, sometimes you don't understand. It's like you can take the example of football, like PSG, like the teams of my
Yeah,
country,
yeah,
the
yeah.
football team. They have Messi, they have Mbappe, they have
Best players in the world.
they have Neymar. Like, what do you want more? Mbappe, Messi, Neymar. Like it's putting simple Zayu and I don't know. You understand?
You
So
and so yeah, simple Zoe, and then you as the IGL, right? Yeah,
yeah, no, not
yeah.
me, but someone else. But the things is on paper they're so strong, but sometimes it's
Mm,
not working. Like I think the synergy in CS is very important. It's something very mystery.
mm.
Like you told, like Nine was good with the Sparrow as a VP, but when others come, they just explode. But obviously, it's not only because others come, because Kay, Kyler, Goofy, they all bringing some fire power. They're all playing way better individually. I think it's Minho the leader on their team.
Yeah, he's
So
the IGL.
yeah, something's happened for them and they play really good. They play really good CS. They're winning like I make reference to us in Space Soldiers. It was the same in Space Soldiers. Like we started like normally, and then when we bring Calix in the team, it was Calix, Paz, Xantares, me, and Engine. When we bring Calix, like we just explode. Like we did like nine, we just win tournament. After that, they're always talking about us. We go to the major, etc., etc. So sometimes it's like you said, mystery things. I think synergy is important in the team. The synergy, and I don't know also how to make a good team working. I don't know. I don't know.
Are there so because most recently, the ex Heat boys, they're now called Looking for Org, I think, because like mid tournament Heat like dropped
Who?
them. But Heat, the French team,
Ah, Heat. Okay, okay, the
yeah, they're
friendship.
now
Yeah,
looking for Org, I think. I
yeah.
don't know what's happened. But have you seen many of their games? Because like out of nowhere, they've just won a tournament where they beat Monty and then brought Apex a third map on semifinals. Like, have you been watching many of their games?
Ah, the CCT, the last CCT when they win fours also.
Yeah, they beat
This
fours in round one.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was what I watch. They're all individually good player, to be honest. There is
Okay.
Aji, Maka, Joko. Like I'm French, so I know them.
Mm.
Uh, but you know, now in CS, like online. everyone can beat everyone. Like Spirit Academy, it's
Yeah.
academy team, but I'm 100% sure that you put Spirit Academy against Spirit, and Spirit Academy will win one map for sure. They can win
Okay.
also Spirit,
Yeah.
like online. I'm taking online. Line is different,
Mm-mm.
to be honest. But online, everyone can beat everyone, to be honest. Nowadays, in these times, uh, before it was not like this, but now I think what I'm happy with, it's there is a new game. I think CS:GO. It's the game is over since long times ago.
Yeah.
It's over. Everyone know how to play. Everyone know how to smokes. Now with Nart out there, showing smokes, showing tactics. So everyone doing the same tactics. No,
Mm.
no, no, no. I think the game is over. That's why people uh, has finished the game, to be honest, and do going to the new games is with new tactical extra is something really great, I think.
Yeah. It's actually really funny you mentioned Nart out here because I just did an interview with him and the quote was, "I feel bad for tier one teams because I just show all of their stuff," and that is
Yeah,
true. It's like he just
because
like nothing's hidden.
in Space Soldiers, like I was finding everything, and we have things that other team don't, and that's why we're winning. I knew it,
Yeah.
but now even he's posting of me, like he's posting things. I said to myself, "Fuck! I worked 2 hours to find these smokes, and now like everyone will know, will use it, because before Naruto Free, you have to work, you have to watch demos, watch teams.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of night watching Astralis in 2008, like how they play, etc., to find strategy, etc. But now it's really open book, like you go to YouTube, you to tack tack tack, and it's easy. That's why I think teams get better and better. The small teams, T3, T2.
Yeah.
That's why we see a lot of results, like you say, like it coming, winning fours, winning. Yes, maybe taking one map to Apex, etc., etc. I think people now finish the game. Everyone is good to CS. Everyone can shoot. So yeah, that's my point of view.
Okay, so you touched on a point there about how Spirit Academy on LAN would be loads different online.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be quite obvious, but what is like your reasoning to why some teams are better on LAN, and you could like use your team as an example of like what you guys do well on LAN and what you don't do well on LAN compared to like so Spirit Academy not very good on LAN, Spirit good on LAN. Like why is that?
It's just about experience, nothing
Yeah.
else. But maybe some Spirit Academy players also will play good on LAN. But generally, it's only the experience. Like I'm doing LAN since 20 years. Like I was playing in 1.6. I was doing DreamHack in 2008. Like I do LAN tournament
Yeah.
since a long time ago. But the perform like we I knew it because I get past. I played this tournament when I was younger, and the first tournament on that, I was stressing. Stress is
Mm.
normal. It's every player has stress. Like maybe some players say, "Oh, I'm not stressed. I don't have stress." Stress is not a shameful thing. Everyone has stress. Like everyone, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, when they go into the
Mm.
match, we all have stress. But the important things for a player is to put his stress on the positive things, not negative. And that's
Mm.
when you put on a positive thing for you, it's just experience. Like you know how to use your stress in a positive way. And this is the experience. And for a young player, when you will go first time in the LAN with not his desk tech, with not his PC, with not his atmosphere, the table will be more low, more high.
There's
The
like
chair,
holes in the table.
yeah, the chair is not the same. It's not the same comfortable on home. That's why they will lose
Mm.
performance instantly. That's why I say they will. It's not about also stress. It's about also the atmosphere.
Environment.
The environment. Yeah, like you said. So this is why young players losing, I think, performance on LAN because they're not used to play in kind of situation of environment. As a old player, we all play in internet cafe. I start my career in internet cafe, in cyber cafe. You know what I mean?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, so like as in like oh 05, oh 06, like that type of
let
time.
the internet cafe, when you go
Yeah.
somewhere, there is a 20 PC and you just bring
Oh, so you were
your
born on
stuff.
LAN. Yeah, you you,
Yeah, I
you
born
you were
online.
born on LAN.
There
Yeah.
is no internet in my
Mm.
there is internet in my generation when I start playing Counter Strike, but we have not computer in in home. We
Yeah,
had
yeah.
not we just going in the LAN to play Counter Strike with friends, and we start like this. But for young generation, they just
It's
have
hard.
everything in home, so they didn't
Mm,
start on LAN. So it's new environment. That's why I think online and LAN is different.
mm.
There is a good team LAN, and there is a bad team LAN, better team online. We will say, not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I think this is like we'll come to a closing thought soon because I know you got to get going. But this
Yeah.
is why I actually think that ITB did well at the major was because in England, I don't know if you know, but we have like quite a few bring your own computer lands, and it's
Okay.
like very intense, very like everyone's shouting at each other, and they happen like 3 times a year. And players like
Okay.
Cypher has played like 7 of them. He played 8 of them, and I feel like
Oh yeah, maybe it's
having
help.
that
Yeah, yeah.
experience that has really helped him. Okay, speaking about the major, with the lead up to the major, as it's the last major in Counter Strike, do you think some of the favorites, like G2 for instance, would have more pressure on them because it's the last major?
Yeah, obviously, I think everyone will have pressure because it's the last major. I think the most guys who will have pressure is Zayu and I think Simple didn't win major yet, right? No, Nico did it. Nico,
Nico,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Nico and Zayu have pressure because it's the last major. They didn't win one major, but I give my vote to Zayu. I
Mm,
would love to see Zayu winning his first major in Paris and in his home city.
that would be
So
good.
uh, all my strength to Maj3r.
Nice. So, are there some teams there that have maybe like surprised you, and are there some teams that didn't make the major also surprise you that they're not there?
Yeah, Cloud9 surprised me. Like
Yeah.
Cloud9 not going to the major is really bad for them, I think, because I think they're good teams. They play good CS.
Mm.
Other teams that fail, Astra is fail, right? Astra is
Yeah,
face also.
Astralis. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, Astra is fail also. Cloud9. Yeah, like I
Were you
think
surprised VP didn't make it?
VP also,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, VP also. They were the major champion. They didn't go to the next major. Like, I think this is something very surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's showing how CS nowadays it's difficult. To be honest, how CS is difficult. Like, to be honest, can you imagine that? Like, Real Madrid winning Champions League, and the next is not even going to the Champions League group stage. Like,
Yeah.
it's very difficult. Like I said, nowadays.
So do you think it's good that CS2 is coming out because then it's like kind of just refreshing everything a little bit and maybe separating the gap between tier 1 and tier 2?
I'm not sure if we will separate the gap, but it's good things that we have a new games with new
Okay.
strategic with like you see the nade is opening a gap in the smoke, so it will bring new meta. I think new meta. And it will give advantage to the experienced guys who have a better ID, better to know to play, to adapt faster in
Yeah.
the game, etc. It will adapt them, but I think we growing up in esport because when CS2 come, there will be a young generation incoming also
Mm.
playing these games. So we will, I think it will be bigger and bigger. To be honest,
Okay.
we are just in the beginning of esports. To be honest, in my
Mm.
point of view, because the next generation will be way better than us, I think, because they're just born with the computer in hand. You know, like I
Mm.
have a daughter, 4 years old. I can show you how she play in the iPad games that
Yeah.
even me I can't play like this. And she's like, I'm really honest with you. Like she play
Yeah.
games when you have to just dodge obstacle, etc.
Mm.
with arrow, and she's so fast. Like she's just 4 years old, and I'm just wondering. I'm just saying in my mind, like, what the fuck? Like she do that at 4 years old, and she's a girl. Uh, now I have a boy. I will learn him everything in CS. At 12, he will be he will be very simple. What the fuck? If I teach him good things, like I think new generation will be better, to be honest, in my
Okay.
point of view,
That makes
because
sense, yeah.
they more they are more comfortable with electronic, etc.
Mm.
Uh, we will see, but it's just my point of view.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like even I guess like my gen, because I'm 20, so like I wasn't born quite into like this like era, but it was like not too far off. And I guess you already see a lot of people who are like 16, like Monacy, you know, like he's just turned 18. Like what the fuck? Yeah, like so what I'm hearing is that your daughter is better at CS than you at 4 years old. Is that what you're saying?
Not CS.
No, not
it's
CS.
a game.
It's
a game where there is obstacle. I don't know the games like Tetris or something like that.
Yeah.
But she's very good at it, and I think I will teach my boy how to play CS. It will be way better than me. Like he will lead and putting 40 frags every map. You will see in 20 years.
Dream.
In 20 years.
Teach him like Portuguese, English, like teach him all the languages so he can go everywhere as well. You go anywhere. Okay, final question. In the crosshair, who do you think is going to win the major? Like one team.
I'm between G2 and Vitality. Okay. Like G2 Vitality, but I think Vitality is really good form, but they lack maybe something to like being the one favorite. But they have everything they need to win it for sure. So if they are in a good day, they can win it easily. And I think a team that is good and then can win it easily also is G2 for me. Individually, they're really good. Like Hunter, like Monisti, Nico, Hunter, GKS are very, very good individually, and Wuxi is a good leader. So they have everything. They have everything to win it. For me, these both teams.
Okay. That would be a good final. I'd actually quite enjoy that. But, well, Maj3r, thank you so much for coming on. This has been our 3rd episode of the podcast. I guess it's a little bit different. This is more like an interview than a podcast, because last time we had like hour and a half and it was like 2 guests. But if you do want to go watch them, we did the first one with Regali, and then we did the second one with Beastick. I did them with Brandon and Hayes. So if any of you want to go check it out, definitely should. They'll be on the YouTube channel. But thank you yet again, Maj3r. A massive thank you for joining us. It's been a very insightful episode. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the Maj3r. I hope you have a very wonderful week wherever you're on the world. And I'll see you very soon for the next one.
Thank you, Freddy. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
I have very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move. One push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Trying to get the skin of your dream for a long time but can't get it in any way? On our website, you have a unique opportunity to get your favorite knife. Users on our site can hand out skins themselves, and participants need to fulfill some simple conditions. For example, watch a video or buy a case on our website. After that, you automatically become a member of the distribution. Go to the user giveaways tab and do what you like. Hellcase.